just say, hey, I don't get this. And don't be mad when somebody comes back. If somebody else wants to be horsey about something, don't you be that. That's not Christianity, is it? If you get around me and you start saying things about people that you shouldn't be saying, I say, don't you say that. You don't know that. I've said it to a bunch of you, hadn't I? You don't know that. Talking and running your mouth is gossip. It's talebearing. Goodness, if we knew one another and the problems we've gone through to come to this point, we might not be so much that way, would we? Now, all of this has to die. All of this has to come to a place. The list is long. It's long. It has to die. Self has to die. Self has to decrease. And that's the outer man. And we start off with very little Christ, little Jesus, little faith. That's it. Little faith saves, like Spurgeon said. And we have to increase. And there has to be more of compassion and more of gentleness and more of kindness and more humility. And all these words have to be studied in the text. Humble is not, when you humble under the hand of God, humble. T-A-P-E-I-N-O-O. Humble yourself under the hand of God. Tapainua means to level self, or it actually means to level mountains and hills. Level mountains. Babylon is the mother of all idolatry. And Babylon is called a proud mountain. And God says, I'm going to make her a burnt mountain. I'm going to level her to the ground. So what you've got is Babylon in you if she's the mother of all idolatry. And idolatry is self, isn't it? Idolatry, idololatria, E-I-D-O-L-O-L-A-T-R-E-I-A. It's a construction of ido, meaning to see, and latruo, meaning to serve. It means to serve what you put into your eyes. We've all been idolaters, haven't we? I think we do that on a daily basis, and God's got to really deal with us now. Gosh, that's kind of an introduction to today's message. I want us to look at a couple of things if I got any time. Do I have any time? Oh, I just want to look at a few things. Now, see, self has to go. I'm just going to read a few verses to you. Read a few verses. You have to be doing the truth, but most of us are doing a lie, and the lie is self. That's what we're doing. And it takes years of fire. Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you. The fiery trial is not a strange thing. The word strange is X-E-N-I-Z-O, because kenidzo, it comes from X-E-N-O-S, which is the word stranger, meaning an occasional guest. The fire in your life is not occasional. If the fire don't come in your life every day, causing you to be willing to die daily, you're not going to die all of a sudden. You think this stuff goes easy? No, it dies hard. Man, Jim Brown wanted this. He wanted all of this and more. And I wouldn't give it up. And God says, I can make you give it up. And he took a ball bat and beat me in the head. And the ball bat was a bunch of evil men just beat me into the ground. Man, if you ever been to where if you can get on a hospital bed where you can't move and you look straight up and say, oh, God, the fault is mine. God, don't kill me before my heart gets right and I serve you. You've been there? Man, I've had bronchial asthma so bad in the hospital with pneumonia, just pulling for air. I'll tell you what, when you pull in for air, there ain't nothing precious like that. You feel like somebody's got a stranglehold on your esophagus. And your windpipe, you just can't get any breath. That's the most horrible, scary feeling. I'm not saying, is the house okay? Did you lock the house? I'm not saying that. I don't care if the house burns down. Give me some air. I'll tell you what, you'll find out what's precious when God gets through dealing with you. It ain't this stuff, and it ain't your way, and it's not your contention, it's not your strife. We need to learn to behave ourselves because that's what predestination is about. It's about conforming to His likeness, isn't it? if you're not becoming like Jesus and giving up self slowly every day, and if you're living in a stubborn position, a stubborn place, look out. You're going to get hit in the head with a ball bat or a sledgehammer that's about 5,000 miles long, and it's got a head on it about the size of the Empire State Building. And when it hits you, that ain't me. That's the living God. When you belong to Him, He says, I scourge a bloody beating every son I receive. You're mine. I made you my son. You're born by my will, and you will do what I say, and there is no or else. You will do it. Well, that's hard. I wish I could tell you what God's brought me through and nearly killed me so you wouldn't have to go through as much as I've gone through. I don't think anybody in this room has been more stubborn than I was. See, I had a voice. I could have been somebody famous. But God wouldn't let me. He says, that's not what I called you to do. Let me give you something that'll help me get you where I want you. And he just hung some chronic bronchial asthma in the throat, and my vocal cords stay swollen all the time, and I can't sing worth a flip. Now, God will do that. God will give you something, and He'll say, now I'm going to take it away from you and show you you're going to do things my way. That's what He does, doesn't He? You're not your own. You're bought with a price. You're not going to do what you want, and this is what you want, is self, to be contentious and covetous and jealous and strife and froward. Anybody who twists the Word of God and says, predestination don't mean that, you're an ignoramus, and God will deal with you, and He'll deal with you to judgment. He may send you to hell one day, being a Baptist or a Church of Christ. You don't get to go to heaven because you go to some church. We're the church. We're the ecclesia called out of this world to live righteously, are we? I'm kind of on a tear this morning, I guess. I'm just sick and tired. I'm tired of the church fussing and fighting with each other. Let's forget ourselves. Well, that's really hard to do, isn't it? Forget yourselves. God has brought me to a place, my interest is not in Jim Brown. My interest is in you. The only reason I preach so hard to you is because I have been that way for a long time, and God nearly killed me for doing this constantly. Ambition is a terrible thing, isn't it? What are we supposed to do? Work our jobs, be responsible, don't try to climb the ladder of success. If you do that, they'll be kicking you off their ladder. They built the ladder, they made the rules, and it's theirs. You go over there trying to climb their world, you got to do it their way. Lots of compromise. Isn't it? Oh, goodness. I don't even know where to go. Go over here to, I want to take it, I didn't even take you to 1 Corinthians, did I? What God does in 1 Corinthians, look here, 1 Corinthians 2. 1 Corinthians 2. Verse 4, my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words. Paul said, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm not here to entice you. Pithos, P-E-I-T-H-O-S, means to convince you. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I don't believe in trying to convince anybody of anything. God has preordained His family. I'm here, I'm warning you and preaching a message to you so that you will understand. You're going to do what God says if you belong to Him, and you're not if you don't, and you're going to go your way and have your way, and you'll have your way all the way into hell. God's people belong to Him, and He said, you're going to do what I say. That's it. And He's going to make it as tough on us as He has to. That's what the fire and the tribulation is for. It's to conform us. You know what it's for? It's to make us give up and surrender. I give up, Lord. I wanted me so much. I wanted to argue and fight. I quit fighting people. I will not fight you. I don't care who you are. You know, I've only learned that since I passed 60, probably about 65. I'm not going to fight nobody. Say, look, behave yourself or get out. There's the door. Get out of here. Behave yourself. What do you tell your kids? Behave. Go over and sit down in the corner. Go to your room. I'm not here to fight or argue about whether you're right or this person's right or they're right. Go over and behave yourself. If you can't behave, just go over and sit down. Hush. That's what we tell our kids, don't we? From now on, I'm just going to start doing that to you. If you get up in the air